Stand by. Ken.
Yeah.
I can't count and do this.
In Gonzales, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you the LHSAA Bowling Championships. This afternoon, it's the Division II Boys Co-Ed State Championship match between the Belle Chase Cardinals and the Archbishop Shaw Eagles. And a pleasant good afternoon to you, Ken Trahan, along with Lenny Van Gilder and Kent Lowe from Premier Lanes, as we have the first Boys State Championship match for you, Belle Chase and Shaw. And we'll start with this. Lenny Van Gilder, pleasure to have you with us. It is a family affair.
It is, and a great story when you have the Vidros family, who has been such a big part of high school bowling, and Gerald and Denise Vidros leading the Archbishop Shaw team. Well, you look over on the other side at Belle Chase, and you see their son Scott, who is the head coach there, who bowled for them at Shaw 10 years ago. So this is certainly a family affair, and certainly a great storyline for this match. Shaw has been the dominant team in Division II since we have split the proceedings from one division to two on the boys' side, and they have not lost a match, though I will tell you, they got pushed to the limit in the semifinals. In fact, both these teams got pushed to the limit in the semifinals as we tried to get to the round of two here for this championship match. And Kent, it's been that's kind of been the storyline here all day. Some great matches here all day long, setting the stage for what will hopefully be two outstanding final matches.
Yeah, Belle Chase defeated University High, the Baton Rouge team, with a very good performance, 16-11. Evan Shepard with a 203, Matthews St. Germain 246, Christian Collingsworth a couple of games over 200, and Shaw was a 17-10 winner over South Terrebonne.
The match, they were down 10-6
yes.
after two in a very unfamiliar position for the Eagles, and then they went out and shot a blockbuster final game. Both
of the Barreloos with 600 series. Jonathan Arena, 238, 263, finished with 682. Yeah. So unlike yesterday, where the two semifinals were fairly easy wins, today both of these teams had to work a little bit in the semifinals to get us to the point we're at right now.
Yeah, no question about that. And with Arena, you mentioned that 263. He opened the last game with the front nine, and then by that point the match was pretty much clinched. He went through the face and left a big split. But still, in all, in that kind of situation, talking to some of the Shaw people afterwards, this is the first time all year, and probably only the second time in the last 2 years, that they've been in a tight match after two games. And we talked about that yesterday a bit with Chappelle and Judgetown. How would these teams respond when the pressure is on in a clutch situation? And you saw it in a big way with Shaw as they stepped up with their best game of the year when they had to have it to get through.
Well, I think, it is, for them, it was a pressure situation. It was a must-win situation for them, and they responded. And I think that's what the good teams do. I will give a lot of credit to the University High and the Belle Chase match. They shot some unbelievable numbers for them in that match, and should be applauded for their efforts in pushing this Belle Chase team. Even though they're the 10 seed, the seedings didn't hold, but they probably are one of the best teams in this division.
Well, you look at averages, and that's what we tend to look at. Records and seeds are one thing. We look at averages. Shaw had the best average in the state this year, may have been the highest scoring team in the state, period, Division I or Division II. Belle Chase was the 10 seed, but they had the fourth highest average. The three highest averages were all on the other side of the bracket, so in terms of average, these are the best teams on either side of the bracket that got through here to the finals.
No doubt about that, Lenny. And this is kind of one of those matches you kind of wanted to see, like yesterday's, because of the family affair situation here, and I think this crowd will be probably supporting both teams pretty equally here for this one, and I think we're in for a good afternoon of bowling. We mentioned, I just think we need to mention what happened yesterday just for people to keep an eye on. Lane 23 was very tight, and it was very difficult to find the pocket. 25 and 26, I think over these two boys championship matches, we got a chance to see some very good scores this afternoon on the high end. It'll be interesting to see how if 23 plays as tight as it did yesterday, because it was very difficult for the girls to get to the pocket on 23 consistently.
Yeah, no question about that. Of course, we always talk about format here. If this is the first time that you're watching high school bowling, 27 points are at stake in the match, and it takes 14 points to win. That is the magic number. That's what we always talk about in these matches. And basically, when you're looking at a team like Shaw, a lot of times it's eight points in each of the three games, and then it's 3 points for what we call the super total pins for the entire match.
Best of 14, or best of 27. 14 is the magic number.
Right. And what has happened a lot of times with matches involving Shaw, because they have been so superior to their competition, because 16 points are at stake in the first two games, they're clinching matches after two games. And these two teams did meet in the regular season. Shaw did win the match. It ended up, I believe it was 24-3. It was a 5-3 game after one. It was very tight. And then Shaw stepped on the gas and swept the last two games to win. That doesn't mean that's what we're going to see today. Obviously, if we learn nothing from the low side of the center than the earlier matches today, that we could see some very tight matches. Nothing was the biggest margin of victory was 17-10 in the boys' semifinals, the four matches on either side.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Division I coming up, because they had two phenomenal matches, aside from the Shaw-South Terrebonne match, which was outstanding. If you look at this matchup, there's no question that Shaw has a definitive advantage. They have an average advantage in all 6 spots, so they are the defending champions. They have the numbers. They have the experience. So Belle Chase has nothing to lose here, and a tremendous opportunity to get here for the Cardinals. And, of course, mentioning Shaw being the defending state champion, Shaw moved to Division II when this division was created, because previously they competed in Division I and were a very good team in that division. But the proliferation of bowling in Louisiana has resulted in 2 divisions on the co-ed side, which of course is predominantly boys and some girls, as we will see coming up here today.
Yeah,
in Division I matchup with Slidell and Brother Martin.
Yeah, go ahead, Kent.
Shaw was a champion in 2009 in the what was in the 1 division. We're just about set to go here as the teams are shaking hands and getting ready for their final huddles. And as you watch on this camera here, 23 and 24, the pair on the left will be the 1, 2, and 3 bowlers, and then 4, 5, and 6 will bowl on 25 and 26. I told you about some of the characteristics of the lane. We're in a separate day from where the teams competed yesterday. Earlier today, in the semifinals. So we'll just have to see if some of those characteristics we saw yesterday develop early on these lanes, Kenny.
Well, one of the things we're going to see very clearly is with the left pair being tighter, you're going to get more balls to the pocket, because these are boys, and they're going to be able to generate a little bit more in terms of revolution, in terms of back end, being able to hook a little bit more to get there. So keep an eye on that as we get set to get started.
Before we do, let's remind you that today's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Get the same sports medicine care the pros receive with minimally invasive treatments and quicker recovery times. Visit ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more or schedule an appointment near you.
And we're underway, and a strike right away for Archbishop Shaw. And Brady Barlow, one of the 2 brothers on the Shaw squad. And a beautiful shot. Finally got the 8-pin out for Andrew Hine of Belle Chase. And another strike, Anthony Tron. So, hey, that's the way you want to start, Kent. A whole bunch of strikes, right?
Exactly. Strikes all around, except for a single pin, a pesky single pin.
Yeah, 7-pin, first corner we've seen. And there's a perfect shot from Jonathan Arena. Lenny, he came up huge in the third game in the semifinals.
He did, and that entire Shaw team came up huge in Game 3, as we alluded to. 13-41, best game of the year for the Eagles to rally for that victory. They were down 10-6. They were down, 50 pins after 2 games.
And Collins slaps out the 10, so Shaw's thrown 5 shots. Shaw has 5 strikes to get things started. You always want to start fast. That's the definition of starting fast. And make it 6 for 6.
Shaw throws them all the first frame.
There you go. We talked about the family situation and mother and father and son opposing coaches here, but you've also got a family situation in terms of brothers on both teams. In that for Shaw, you've got Cody and Brady Baraloo, and then for Belchase, you've got Bryce and Evan Shepard, who are twins. Bryce at 6 and Evan at 3 in the lineup.
So truly a family affair, as we've spoken of here today.
Yeah, and Evan's a left-hander and Bryce is a right-hander. So
spares always important. We get a look at a shot of Andrew Hine. And that one snapped again. Boys are going to get more back end on this tighter pair, as I said before we got started here. That was a perfect indication. Bucket without the sleeper on 23. So the first non-strike for the Eagles. Antoine Tron will have that conversion.
He came in, he was big. He entered the lineup in Game 3 and came up big along with the rest of his teammates. Subbed in and shot 225 in that game.
There's a bold move made to substitute in the semifinals of the final game when your team had to win and win big, and they did.
If you look at these Shaw averages, you look at those 6, 7, and 8 spots in their roster. It's 183, 182, 180. So you don't have a lot of spread there where you feel like if somebody doesn't have it, you can make a move. We saw something similar happen in the Division I semifinals as well.
Revolution there. Look at the 7-pin stand. Really good shot nonetheless for Archbishop Shaw by Zachary Tron. Eagles with a double in the 4th spot to get started with Brady Baraloo. Good cover and another good cover. Spears and Belcher. Spears matter. Extremely important.
Shaw in the first match finished at 36-89, by the way.
Here's Arena coming up light and leaves a split. He was trying to find it for 2 games in the semifinals. And did he ever find it at the right time? Game 3. Kobe Baraloo with a strike. So he's got a double. Eagles with a couple of doubles out of the box here to get things started. This Division II state championship.
Shaw's got 3 seniors in his starting lineup today. Belchase just 1.
Great future for the Cardinals. Future is now, though. Went right around the 7-pin.
Tough break there.
The right shot, wrong result. That happens in bowling all too much, unlike other sports. Trip the 6-pin on a Brooklyn shot. And Collins have a trip the 4-pin. Shaw looking good early. Tron revs it up. Lenny likes him because even though he's 2 hands, he's using the left hand as his predominant hand. So. Slap out the 7-10. You like seeing that. That means you've got a lot of ball, which is the case for Matthew St. Germain for Belchase. And another strike for Shaw.
We're going to talk about honor scores a little bit later on, Ken, but You talk about painful. Matthew St. Germain last year shot 299, and it was the most vicious 10-pin you ever want to see. The head pin came flying across as the messenger. I don't know how it didn't hit the 10-pin. And it's one of those that left you feeling bad for the young man, even though you weren't the one out there bowling. You may have had no rooting interest in the game, and you saw that shot. It's like, how did that not strike?
It's called bowling karma.
Yeah, exactly.
Two-hand lefty release and leaving the 9-pin despite making a pretty good shot on lane 23. Shepard blew the rack and got the result, and that is a 3-bagger to get started for Archbishop Shaw's Cody Barrelow. And he is, as Lenny mentioned, somewhat young.
8th grader?
Amazing.
How about that? Seen a little bit of that. Look, I'll tell you what, we got a moment. It's early on. We want to talk a little bit about some of the great games that have been shot this year, because we've had record scores in Louisiana this year. And I'll give Matt Merritt, our producer, a chance to bring it up. And you look at these games, okay, you want to talk about young. First of all, you see 2 Shaw guys on there. It's the reason we talk about it. That happened in the first week of the season with Arena and Collins shooting 300 in back-to-back matches. Michael Broussard to slide out. We'll see him in the next match. A lot of other guys you see, we've seen this year, a lot of them from around the area. Grant Pendergraph was the MVP in Division I a year ago. And then you get to the bottom, and it's Xander Tran. He's a 7th grader who shot 300, 234, 266 for 800 one day before his 13th birthday. And you see the note at the bottom. That is the most. There's 8 300s and 2 800s on that page. That is the most in 1 year in Louisiana high school bowling history. So we have had an extraordinary set of scores this year.
There's a few.
By the way, you could see
a few underclassmen on the list.
Oh yeah, and by the way, you can see every one of those final shots at 300s at CrescentCitySports.com. If you go back and look at them all, we had coverage of every one of them this year.
And Pendergrass for Dedham Springs was in the playoffs last week.
Yes, it was last week. Yep. 3rd game in the first round against Captain Shreve, I believe. Yeah.
That's a gutter ball. Don't see that often. He smiles about it. Does Tron.
Looks like 25 and 26 are rolling pretty good like yesterday. If you get the ball out there, it's going to come back in.
Well, Tron was not on anything, so the gutter ball doesn't do damage. He still has another shot to come and has a chance to spare it up. Shepard, good release. 7th pin. Tron trying to spare it up. Cannot. 7 out. So things have slowed down a little bit here on the low pair for Archbishop Shaw after a fast start, but now up with a triple working is Cody Barrelow. There's Collins strikes for Shaw.
Oh!
Hooked a little much on the back end. And a good release and a good result. 4 in a row out of the box for Archbishop Shaw's Cody Barrelow, the 8th grader. Doesn't look like an 8th grader, does he? I mean, I can't imagine. If I would have been, as I bowled in a prep league, if I would have been bowling in 8th grade.
He's averaging 192 as an 8th grader. Let's give him a couple of more years and see what.
I'm trying to remember what I averaged in 8th grade. Now, scores weren't what they are now back then. The equipment wasn't anywhere near.
I'm
thinking it was like 155, 160.
Let me make this comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, my senior year at Archbishop Rummel, I averaged 175.
Yeah.
I made the all-city team averaging 175. Okay? If I'd averaged 175 this year, I would not have qualified to bowl in the state singles finals tomorrow.
Nope. That speaks volumes.
It took 187 to qualify in singles this year for the boys.
My senior year, my last year bowling, when I was at Archbishop Rummel, Steve Demack, Dean Courtade, and Paul Hebert were had about the same average, fighting it out for high average. And it was pretty interesting. Dean was bowling for O. Perry Walker, Steve Demack for Rummel, and Paul Hebert was bowling for Easton. And it was to the last game. I think DMAC won it by like a pin. And I want to say It was like 198, something like that. So
Yeah, there you go.
And that was at Bridgeport.
Well, okay, 198. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
right.
a great score, right?
Yeah.
42 bowlers in the state of Louisiana, boys, averaged 200 this year, and 4 girls did. So 46 of the 128 that'll be in action tomorrow.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. Watch the finals here on Crescent City Sports. Coverage begins about 1:20 tomorrow.
Can't wait to see that in person tomorrow. And, of course, our man Jonathan Arena that won it in 23 for Shaw.
One of the best matches.
Was involved in one of the greatest matches you could ever see in a singles final.
Right. Not talking high school, not talking college, talking at any level.
Any level,
The match that we saw 2 years ago in the final with Arena and Preston West of Dutchtown, just matching strike after strike after strike after strike. The whole way through, basically, Arena had to get up, finishing last in the 10th frame, double in the 10th to win, and did it to shoot 287.
So we get to the midway point on the low pair and just about on the high pair. So we'll set the scene for you in terms of where we're at in the match at this point. On the low pair, you've got Archbishop Shaw leading at the number 1 spot right now. And number 2, Bell Chase has the lead. Number 3, Shaw's on top. And on the high pair, Shaw's on top in the 4 spot. Bell Chase in the 5 spot. Shaw in the 6 spot. So 4 for Shaw, 2 for Bell Chase midway through.
Yeah, and about a 70-pin spread in total right now, it looks like.
There's Brady Barrelou on 25. Made a good shot and got the 7-10 out.
I'm not sure what took out the 10.
Yeah, it was a pin. I'm not sure which one.
Well, the 7 was also involved there for a second.
Was. Yep. There's a nice blowout. Well done. You come back from a gutter ball and you got a 2-bagger. There you go, unfazed. Got to forget about the last shot. Even if it was a good one, focus on the present. Here's Jonathan Arena on 25, one of the best bowlers in Louisiana. And, he tripped the bucket.
Wow. You can laugh about things like that.
Nice spare cover for Bell Chase by Cody Speece. 4-pin spare. That's a stuff job by Barrelou again. 8th grade. Good luck with that moving forward. You're going to have to beat that young man for 4 more years after this.
No, it
sounds like a political campaign.
Could be the Barrelou brothers are bowling 5 and 6 for Shaw, at least for the next couple of years.
Yes.
As you look at those averages, they are the 2 underclassmen in the top 6.
That's the 2nd trip bucket in a row on 25 for Shaw. This time Collins. And the reason for that, Ken, is you got so much on the back end. That ball is really firing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and it's like we said yesterday, in this bay, 25 and 26, you can play it out. It's going to come back in, and you just got to get your right entry angle in there.
So Shaw with all strikes up in the 6th frame. After we set the scene for you in the 5th frame, Shaw's taken off with 6 consecutive strikes. And they can do that. They can explode at any time.
And Bell Chase has no strikes in the 6th frame.
Things change dramatically.
Well, they're about to have potentially 3 opens in the 6th frame.
Yeah, 4 just on the high side. They've already got 1 on the low side.
That's
as well.
what I mean. Yeah,
right.
And 3 against 3 strikes. So.
Tried to make that.
I think that may have been a smart play there. You're getting to a point in the game where you might have had to go for that.
Tron, really good shot. Nicely done.
That's just pretty. That's just pretty to watch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're looking
Guys,
at just a good release. Now Zachary Tron revs it up. Leaves the 5-pin. Shepard for Bell Chase on 23. Beautiful shot. Evan Shepard, 10 down.
That ball did not, Arena's ball did not come back that time. He was a little wide and maybe a little hard with his speed. but that ball didn't come back, and he knew it as soon as he threw it.
Remember, he tripped the bucket a moment ago, so he was wide on the shot on 25, so he may need to make some kind of adjustment.
May need a speed adjustment more than anything.
Very impressive what I'm seeing thus far from Cody Barlow, Ken. He doesn't bowl like an eighth grader. Then again, look, we've talked about it in other sports, right? You see it at every level. We see freshmen and sophomores getting on the field, on the court in different sports that we would have never seen at an earlier time. That they're developing skills at an earlier age at whatever sport they're competing at.
Well, that's exactly right, Lenny, and I mean, it is just amazing, the development. It's kind of the weird opposite of college sports where it's getting older. High school sports are getting your big stars or younger players now.
Right.
Well, Lenny had another reaction there because we just saw a second gutter ball.
Tron, same lane, got it wide, and as I've been told more than once in my career, it doesn't hook from the gray boards. So.
Well, you just gotta put it behind you.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
And come back and make a good shot.
Release, that was better, but wide. 7 out, much like the previous time. He had it in the ditch, and that match now swings in favor of Belchase.
And again, some of the reactions that you see over here are going to be different than what you saw, even though it's maybe the same oil pattern, just based on topography and based on how these lanes have played over time. It's going to be different.
Unable to convert. Now Cody Barlow on a double.
Got a piece of deadwood on 26 they'll have to get rid of. But there's a nice cover.
So the Barlow brothers looking good for Archbishop Shaw. Eagles looking good thus far. In game one, as anticipated. Shepard release. High, and there's the big four. No fun. Can be made. Odds are definitively against it.
Now St. Germain will go for the cover of the baby split on 26.
Meanwhile, Arena was wide again.
He was wide again. He was about on the third or fourth board, Lenny. I just don't think you can go that far out, especially playing straight up.
Well, maybe make a move left with the feet, left with your target to keep it from getting out there, because there is a little bit. I think there is a little bit of out of bounds there in terms of trying to get the ball back.
Today especially there is.
This reminds us of Arena this morning. He really fought it for a game and a half, 2 games, and he found it the end of game 2, and then he was terrific. Very similar thus far. And when he's missing, Lenny, he's missing a little bit right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, is that an equipment issue? Is that a line issue?
Well, he just switched balls to your point.
It's a good move at this point. Look, you're down in your match by 53 pins with 2 frames to go. You're not going to win your match, but you could certainly help your team, get things set up for down the road.
Antoine Tron and Zachary Tron each with a strike for Shaw. Antoine's got 5 in a row now for the Eagles on the low pair.
Well, they've opened up 130 approximately on the low pair at the moment.
But Belchase has the lead in 2 matches, and that's important. They've got to get points out of this. Broke up a split here.
Yeah, this could be, at this point, is looking like a 6-2 game.
Correct.
But it could be a big total
margin.
pin spread.
Shaker 4-pin for Belchase in the 4th spot by Matthew St. Germain. Strike recorded. Barlow again looking good.
So Arena does pick up another bowling ball and is making the change here to throw on this right-hand lane. So we'll see what that looks like going down.
Different surfaces, different meters in terms of hardness of these balls and reaction. Most using reactive resin balls.
Hits about the 5
much
board.
bigger reaction there.
Yeah.
Yep.
He
No
was
doubt.
at about the 5 board at the arrows, and that made a lot of difference there.
Well, in terms of hook, that's probably a high resolution,
Yeah.
8 or 9 in terms of how it registers. Whereas the ball he was throwing previously is probably like a 7, 7.5, which means, of course, the higher the number, the more it hooks. Antoine Tron leaves the bucket. So there goes the 5-bagger.
But to get that out of your 1 slot, if he can convert, he's going to finish very, very possibly in the 220s.
Well,
That is the depth of this team.
bowling an outstanding game for Bell Chase is Christian Collinsworth. Collinsworth now has a 3-bagger and is well on his way to victory in the 5 spot. There we go. That's a double. Can't convert the bucket. So, good game nonetheless out of the 1 spot. As Lenny mentioned, you get good games out of 1 spot, you're typically going to be in really good shape. 210 game for Archbishop Shaw in the 1 spot for Antoine Tron.
That's a nice finish for Hine, and that may be a good sign for next game as he strikes out in the 10th frame.
For a 152 game. And Zachary Tron is wide, and Bell Chase is going to win at number 2 for sure. Bernie Baralou strikes, bowling an excellent game. He's in the 230s right now and counting for Archbishop Shaw in the 3 spot.
The only game in the balance at this point, Ken, may be at number 6.
Correct. Because of a triple.
Big
for
rally
Bell
by
Chase
Bryce
Shepard.
Shepard. Yeah, he was down in his match, but has thrown 3 in a row and has a chance to strike out for 2.
Oh, what a cover. You don't see that very much.
Not very
With
often.
a sleeper to be able to go
Yeah.
and get the back pin as well as the 10 pin, that's rare.
2, 4, 8, 10, especially with the 2-handers who can get that late reaction. Now sometimes you see it a little bit more than maybe we used to see it, but still, that's a tough conversion.
This is pretty definitively going to be a 6-2 game for Shaw, but the Eagles will have a large advantage. Total pins, a 158 game for Zachary Tron. Had an up and down game. He had some good shots, but had a couple of gutter balls mixed in, which offset a double that he had in the course of the game. Nice ball to strike. And I mean, bowling a really good game is Collinsworth. That's 4 in a row now. He's bowling extremely well. 7 pin doesn't go. Good shot. And there you go. Arena's got the equipment now, and he's got the shot. He doubles up. That'll get him set up for game 2. Collinsworth will win that match.
You know, these games go pretty quick. Even though you're bowling 3 games, each game goes pretty quick. You got to make some adjustments.
Here's Collinsworth, and he got a shaker. Boy, what a game he's bowling. He's on his way to a 250-plus game here.
But Arena made a smart move quickly, and it's going to pay off for him with a good finish here.
Collinsworth has 1 more to go. He came over to talk to a coach about it before he goes and shoots at Arena. Able to strike again. So Arena's going to likely take it off the sheet, which would put him at 190. Shepard cannot convert, so he shoots a 137. That's Evan Shepard. 216 game at number 3 for Cody Barlow.
236, I believe. 236 for Barlow.
Yeah, 236.
Nice game.
My bad, 236. It was 216 in the ninth. So 236. Outstanding game for Cody Barlow. And then, of course, you look at Christian Collinsworth. What a game. 253 for the Cardinals. And Arena does take it off the sheet. Perfect shot for 190. So made the equipment switch, and it's paying off for him. Sets him up for bigger things.
Shaw won the low pair by 131 pins. It's a lot closer on the high pair right now.
But still an advantage for Shaw. Blowout.
Oh.
Got it. 10 pin goes, and that match in the balance as we speak. Collins, see if he can answer. He does.
Will make Shepard strike here in the 11th to possibly win.
Yes. Possible 210 for Shepard. Possible 206 for Collins. Here's Shepard, possibly for the win. He's got it. So it looks like Bell Chase in shape here to win a second point, which is very important to stay in this match. And no, can't get
Whoa,
it.
I thought it was going to fall
see.
forward there.
Yeah. So, yep. It's going to be 5-3 game. A 5-3 game,
Yes.
Lenny. Not
Right.
6-2, but the
Right.
6-0, it's 5-3. So Bell Chase able to win 3 matches here. They won 3 of the 6. Just the total pins that got them. But a good performance by the Cardinals and a really good finish for Bell Chase by Bryce Shepard to win his match. 194 for Collins. Archbishop Shaw. 209 game. A win for Bryce Shepard. So a 5-3 game for Archbishop Shaw will give you the totals here. But we'll do that when we return in a moment here with more of our Division II State Championship match on Crescent City Sports. Yeah, 23.
All right, we're back, getting ready to start game 2 here. Looks like might be same lineups both ways.
And it's a 5-3 advantage for Shaw, and then the total pins we're talking about is what? 144. 44. Okay, there we go.
12-23 to 1079.
There we go. Got it. So a huge margin for Shaw, but only a 5-3 edge after one game. And we get started with the second game and a strike for Bell Chase at number 4 by St. Germain. Good performance for the Shaw Eagles in the lower pit, as you were, the lower averages. You had a 236 game and a 210 game. And those are the lower average bowlers. Came through, and there's a nice strike.
Good consistency.
For 2 strikes.
Yeah, good consistency there. 600 on both sides. Ken.
That's right. That's what you want to see. That's the ultimate definition of team.
While we have a moment, Ken, as we're just getting underway, today's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by the Greater New Orleans USBC, serving men, women, and youth bowlers in the New Orleans area. Check their website at gnousbc.org or their Facebook page for the latest information. Come out, support your local association, and have fun doing it. So thanks to everyone involved with the group.
I will be supporting my local association about 6:30 tonight at All-Star.
There we go.
Thursday night league.
You have done that for quite a long time, no matter what your schedule dictates. It's good that the SEC does not play basketball on Thursday nights, right?
That's why I bowl on Thursday nights.
I bowled in a Thursday night mixed league for almost 40 years.
We bowl.
Men's league on, Wednesday night, right?
No, the Wednesday night league that we bowled in, that Ken and I were actually teammates for several years. That league has been around for a very long time, going back to, I guess that dates back to Paradise Lanes before it moved to what is now Bolero.
Right, it moved to what was Don Carter Kenner, and then became what it is now, Bolero, and it was the Coca-Cola Businessmen League back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have an interesting league on Thursday nights. I bowl in here at Baton Rouge All-Star Lanes, and a lot of it is a little bit similar to this. It's a 4-person league. You get a point for beating the person across from you. Your top 2 are a doubles team for a point, and your bottom 2, and then your team event gets 2 points. So it's very similar to this, and frankly, it's a lot of fun. Bowling for 32 points a night, and it's to me a lot more entertaining and strategic planning involvement than your normal 4 or 5 point a night league.
So Shaw with 3 strikes to start on a low pair here in game 2, and they bowled extremely well in game 1 to establish a solid advantage over the Cardinals. It's only 5-3, as mentioned, the Eagles on top, but a really solid advantage in total pins, 144. Unable to convert the 10 pin. And you don't really want to turn it and hook it when you're shooting the 10 pin. You want to kill it, as it were, flatten it. Change your hand position. Some change their speeds. Many change balls to shoot cross lane. Arena strikes. And I would expect Arena to have a good game here after the equipment change, which he made. He's off and running with a double, and he finished last game, struck out. Last 4 shots, so he's got, 6 in a row over 2 games. Now Joshua Collins on 26, highest average player for Shaw. And knocks down 10, bounces back from a rough first line. And now a trip 4 pin. So that works for Shaw.
Lenny, help me. What year is Collins?
He is a senior.
Senior, okay.
Along with Arena. So they're 5 and 6 are both seniors. Brady Barrelou, a sophomore. Cody Barrelou, an 8th grader. Zachary Tran is a senior. Antoine Tran is a sophomore.
Did Collins or Arena bowl 6 last year for them? Do you remember?
Collins was 6 last year.
He was,
and
okay.
Arena was 5. But at some point, I think, if I remember correctly, last year they may have finished with the same average, and that was a choice. This year, of course, Collins finished at 224, Arena 221, the regular season average. Which, by the way, they are the only 2 off the same team to both be in the top 10 of the state in average. Collins finished 2nd, tied with Jonathan Cho for Jesuit, and Arena was in a gaggle at 221. 4 bowlers finished at 221 and a tie for 5th in the state. Price Metzger of Airline, Luke Chapman from East Ascension, Anthony Linker of Archbishop Rummel, and Arena.
Should mention a change for Shaw. Robert Calix has entered the lineup, and he's bowling right now
at the 2 spot.
On lane 23 and the 2 spot for Archbishop Shaw. So a lineup change.
Yeah, Zachary Tran is out. Okay.
And Calix makes a perfect shot. So you bring in somebody off the bench, Ken, and all he does, ice cold, is throw 3 strikes to start the game. Nice deal, right? It's kind of like the guy comes out of the bullpen, you call it a pinch hitter, and he's not loose, and he goes out there and hits a home
Bring in
run.
the right-hander.
Well, again, we can't see it over here. They are on the other side of the wall. They're throwing practice shots just to stay loose.
Right.
But again, you're coming onto a pair of lanes
Totally
that you've not
different
thrown
lanes.
practice balls
That's
on.
right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And when we have practice balls and we come on the air, you see the two teams practicing. That's only the 6 bowlers that are bowling in game 1. The entire rosters are not out there. So,
Correct.
you know, the subs have to come off another pair.
And Arena's got 3 straight here and 7 straight overall.
And that's all since the ball change,
Correct.
right?
He's probably saying to himself, why didn't I do this earlier, right? It's all good. He's quite a bowler. Slap out the 10. Good job. That's a triple to start for Belchase's Bryce Shepard, I should say. Bryce with the first 3.
Yeah.
Collins carries. He's got a double. So a lot of strikes for the Eagles. We got triple, double, triple, double. Sound like a broken record.
I'm going to put my college hat on here for a minute,
Okay.
but I love having the names on the back of the jerseys.
Oh, that's very nice to identify. Slap out the 10 pin. Nice shot by Baraloo. That's Brady Baraloo. Meanwhile, Cody Baraloo
Because
takes care of a spare.
that's how when you pointed, I quickly noticed the sub.
Yeah.
Nobody comes and checks in at the scorer's table.
No, man.
Like
This
that.
isn't basketball.
Or even baseball. A pinch hitter. You got to go tell the home plate umpire.
We blow a horn there when.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
Substitution for the Tigers. Low. Replacing High.
Arena with the front
Nice
foot.
shot. Arena comes up with another.
He's locked in right now.
He's totally locked in. That's 8 straight dating back to last game. Antoine trying to blow out 7 pin.
Wow.
Needed help to get the 10 out.
Yeah.
And a really good shot.
Yeah. Well, you know, at the outset, Ken, we mentioned that Scott Vidros, of course, Denise and Gerald's son, is the Belchase coach. But once upon a time, you go back to 2015 as Collins strikes for 3 in a row over on lane 26. You see right there, Scott Vidros back in 2015 had to get up and fill 19 pins in the 10th frame to advance his team out of the old regional into the bi-regional round, and he delivered, clutched up and threw a strike, and then 7-pin made a spare. You saw Gerald there, and one of his teammates, Matthew Collins, is one of the assistant coaches here as well. So a lot, it's old times there. I believe they beat Chalmette in that match, and it was a terrific match. It went down to that last shot to win the match for Shaw.
Family affair. Gerald, of course, I bowl with Gerald too. And Denise, honored by her school at Shaw. She's been there for what, Lonnie? Like 4 decades. Remarkable run. Terrific educator in person.
Yep.
And Archbishop Shaw.
Yeah, will be inducted later this spring into their Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Might be a 3-time state champion by the time she gets inducted. See how this plays out.
Real possibilities. 4 in a row for Archbishop Shaw and number 2 and Robert Calix, who again he just entered and he's thrown 4 straight. Nice to be able to go to your bench, pull out a bowler with 4 in a row. Come on, man.
What do we have? We got 3 4-baggers going.
We got 3 4-baggers going. Of course, Arena has one of those, and Bryce Shepard with 4 in a row for the Belchase Cardinals.
Look, talking about guys that we bowl with. Let's give a tip of the hat to the Shepard's grandfather, who's also the Belchase assistant coach, John Hitzman, who we bowled with for a long time, Ken, and is helped bring up his grandkids in the sport, and they have made some big improvements along the way, and that's part of the reason, and a big reason, why we see Belchase here in the final today.
John's a great guy. Just think the world of him, and so good to see him here.
Oh my goodness!
It's a weird leave.
I don't know if the rack's going to pick this up.
It's not going to pick it up.
Yeah,
Nope.
It's going to be the 5-9, I believe there.
Yeah, you knew that wasn't going to be picked up.
Right.
So they're going to have to spot pins. Well, he's going up and shooting it. That can't happen. Going to have to spot the pin.
Yeah. A lot of times they don't know the rules. So.
No. Okay, here's Arena with 4 in a row, and he's thrown 8 in a row going back to last game. Takes his time, approaches, out to the 4 or 5 board, brought it back. He wasn't sure. Look at him. He
wide.
wasn't sure. That tells you what that means, folks, is here's a bowler that has a lot of area.
Yeah.
He's got the right equipment and he's got the right angle.
He
He's
has-
got the right result.
He has the right equipment now. He
Yes.
didn't start with the right equipment.
Sure did.
In my mind, and his mind finally, but
Through the nose and a 7-pin. Now Collins looking for a 4 straight. He's wide. Double wood spare. That's tough. Not going to happen for Antoine Tron. So we get to the 5th frame, and we'll take a look at where we are in the match. We like to set the stage halfway through. And that's when you start to get at least
Great
a picture.
shot.
Tough shot. That's a 9-pin.
my.
And that's a shame when you're looking at that many strikes and you need a solid 9-pin. That stinks. Hate to see it for Bryce Shepard. He's throwing the ball so well. Nice spare on the 7-pin. And able to convert. So here's Calix for 5. And he's there, but leaves the 10-pin. So that streak comes to an end.
6-pin laid in the gutter. Just a lot of times, all
So
pocket hits aren't alike. Just the entry angle right
Sitting
there.
on arena right now is the guy with the streak. And we'll set the match for you here. There's a nice strike. So at number 1, Bell Chase with the lead. Shaw leads at 2 and 3. Shaw leads at 4. Shaw at 5. And Bell Chase at 6. So it's 4-2 Shaw right now in this game. Sounds a little bit like last game at this point. Although Bell Chase rallied to win 3 last game.
that's just pretty to watch. I mean, it's just pretty to watch him throw the ball when he's got it going.
And Arena will step up on 26. All through the first 5. Cody Barlow strikes and likes it. Here comes Arena on lane 26. Remember, if he gets it wide, he'll be good. Got it wide and stuffed it. So that's halfway through. For the first 6, you need 12, so way to go, Jonathan Arena.
I did say yesterday that I thought we'd see some big scores on 25 and 26.
Well, Lenny and I watched a young man earlier today shoot 279, 278 back to back.
Tony Bella
Tony
from
Bella.
South Terrebonne. He was locked in for those first 2 games. And it kind of transition got him a little bit the last game. He only shot 200.
What a
Finished
shame.
with a 757 series. Saw in the Division I semifinals, Jonathan Cho from Jesuit opened up with the front 9 in the first game.
He sure did.
So
Brilliant.
seen some
Bowling.
really good scores. We had a
Collins converts. Calix left a 9-pin. He continues to throw the ball well, and he looks to convert here.
Nick Bruno had a 275 for Brother Martin in that final game.
Fantastic. Well, of course, Division I, we'll get into that.
And of course, I should mention Blake Abear's on 278 in the opening game.
The Division I finals later on, Brother Martin and Slidell, and the Division I semifinals were simply delicious. If you're hungry, you would have enjoyed those 2 matches for sure. And one team that lost shot lights out and lost. So you don't lose too much with a 37-80 series and lose.
I would say this: had the matchups been different, we would almost certainly have Brother Martin Rummel final going in, because neither team in the other match, I don't think they shot 3,600, did they?
No, not just watching. With the naked
Slidell
eye.
35-84, Jesuit 35-52.
I mean, not even close. But very close match. Here we are in the 7th frame. And Barlow strikes on 25. That's a double. So we establish a solid edge in his match. Shepard for the conversion on 23. And he hooks it past. Can't miss spares, especially 1-pin spares in the middle of the lane. Hines sends it way wide. Not going to get that back. So here's Arena looking for number 7 on lane 25. Right side of your screen. Here we go. Sent it and delivered it. 7 straight for Jonathan Arena. Confident as she goes. Looking the part, feeling the part. And a nice strike here, delivered by Tron. So the Eagles looking good. Looking for a repeat. Looking for a third state championship overall. And
that's
in good shape.
That's in a little bit of elite company right there. When you start talking about 3 titles.
Yeah.
Still got a ways to go here, but the list is not very long on the boys co-ed side of teams that have won
Count
3
them on
titles.
one hand. Alex with a strike.
That's because one school's won 7 less.
Well, that's
true, but
that doesn't help things. Certainly, Vanderbilt Catholic has 2. Rummel has 2. Barb has 3.
Barb has 3. There you go.
And Shaw has 2.
Got 2.
So that is the list of multiple titles. So basically, you're looking at Brother Martin and Barb are the only ones that have won 3 or more.
And they're the only 2 on the girls' side would be Denham Springs that won 4 in a row, and Lafayette won 3 out of 4.
And now you've got, exactly. In terms of 3, you got some 2-time winners. Chappelle joined the list yesterday.
Yeah.
Touchdown, Academy of Our Lady, St. Scholastica.
Bryce Shepard with another nice strike, bowling extremely well for Beltries in the 6th spot. He's doing his job beautifully and has the lead in his match over Collins. Cody Barlow unable to convert that tough washout. Now Brady Barlow on 26. Nice strike on 25 in the 4th spot by Matthew St. Germain. And a beautiful shot there by Brody Barlow, which will get us to Jonathan Arena. And that's our focus right now.
Yeah.
Because he's got the front 7. And again, going back to last game, this would be your crossover 300 if he can hit this one. He's got 11 straight.
Andy Varapapa used to count every time he had 12 strikes in a row as a 300.
It's a 300, man.
I'm not sure
you're
Jonathan
dating yourself
knows
here,
who
man.
Andy Varapapa is.
Exactly. You're dating yourself, man. So here's Arena on 26.
I think Gerald and John probably the only 2 in the pit.
And here we go. Sent it wide.
Got a chance.
Beautiful. Stuffed it. 8 straight for Arena. Arena's enjoying this arena. How many times has he heard that?
Very good. Very good.
And I could say he's enjoying the boutique.
Well, there you go. It's like, you know about the poem,
the
man in the arena. He's right now he is the man in the arena.
We're coming up. We're searching for every cliche imaginable. Here is Antoine Tron. Revs it and rips it. Collins through the nose.
And you look at Bryce Shepard stepping up. Remember, he left that stuffed 9 pin in the 5th frame, or else he might have the front 7 right now.
Yeah, he's bowled a beautiful game. Releases it. Good release. Smash. Showing a great game. And well in control of his match. Collins opens. Shaw hasn't been able to get Arena and Collins bowling really well together consistently today, which is unusual.
But you know what? That's a nice problem to have, and that you've got 2 220 average bowlers sitting at 5 and 6 in your lineup that if one is struggling, the other picks you up. It's like having 2 anchors. It's a luxury that not a lot of teams have.
And baseball would be akin to 2 leadoff hitters. 9 in 1 spot. Barlow through the nose. A little bit soft with that delivery, so that snaps a string of a 3-bagger that was on. Hooks it too much, Calix. This is the 7 pin. We're in the 8th frame of the 2nd game. Shaw's up at 5 and 6. Belchase up at 4 and 5. Belchase up at 6. And Shaw is up even at 1, up at 2, and up at 3. So you got one match that's even. Brady Barlow can't get the 4 out. Brady Barlow gets a nice spare. It's tough
nice cover.
Tough cover indeed. Trust it. Trust was a must, and it worked. 7 pin for Antoine Tron. Snaps the 3-bagger. Covers for both teams. So Tron is up by 9 if he can spare, but Heim will have a chance to take a 1-pin lead if he can strike. That's a swing match at number 1. Good spare.
Arena for
See the way he flattened that one. Here's Arena for number 9.
Little high.
Can't kick out the 9 pin. Pretty good shot. Just needed a little bit of a break there. Didn't get it.
The crowd gives him deserved applause. Yep.
Ball looked like it went just a fraction high, and the ball went right past the 9-pin.
Certainly did. And there's a double in the one spot, which gives Bellchase a 1-pin lead. Alex gets a break and strikes. He's bowling quite a game coming off the bench. No problem on the conversion for Arena. And now Shepard, who's been terrific. Smash 10-pin and can't get the messenger. Really good shot. There's the extreme outside angle, and there's a strike. And that's a double. Well done for Bellchase. And number 2 by Cody Spees. Collins moves a little deeper there. You see, moved his feet in a little bit, and it definitely created a better entry angle.
Well, and again, he's already out of his match. Now's the time to go make any kind of changes you want to make. Change balls, change lines.
It's tricky. Sometimes you have to guess right.
Tough break there for Evan Shepard.
I mean,
well,
as a bowler,
broke up the 7-10, but it was still a good shot.
As a bowler, Kent, the first thing you always want to do is move your feet. You want to switch the angle rather than change balls, because anytime you change equipment, I don't care about the reaction of the ball. It feels different. I don't care what anybody says. No two balls feel exactly alike.
Well, you're exactly right, and a lot of it has to do sometimes with speed. You know, I've tried to throw the ball a little slower, maybe with a little bigger angle, and make that adjustment with my feet a couple of boards, and with my spot, I'm looking at a couple of boards.
But clearly the easiest thing to do is change your feet, move your location of your feet. Changing speeds is hard because it's tricky with your release. If you're decelerating, and of course changing equipment is difficult because you get not only a different reaction but a different feel.
I don't throw it anywhere near as hard as these guys.
Right, Hine with a big split. Suddenly Tron has a chance to perhaps win this at number 1.
And he gets the strike. That's a big shot for Shaw. Trying to win this match.
Yeah.
And in shape to do it now. Must have a conversion to have a chance here. Bellchase 1 for Hine. Sends it and not going to get it. So Shaw will win at number 1. That match swung from one side to the other in the 10th frame. That happens in bowling quite a bit. So Shaw will win at number 4. Shaw will win at number 1. Collinsworth had such a good first game, just not happen in the second game. .187 game for Shaw. And number 4 for Brady Barlow. Brady Barlow, 184. Collinsworth, double wood spare. Well done. Tron, single pin spare. And not happening. 182 game. Might have been trying to throw a strike ball there just to get lined up. Arena slaps one out. So he's got a chance at 279 now. Just in your everyday score, right? Make it sound easy. It's not. Trust me. Collinsworth to the 4-pin to shoot 136.
So if this is a Shaw sweep in game 2, and it is starting to look like that will be the case, or sorry, a 7-1 match, Bellchase is going to win at 6.
Correct.
But even so, if that's the case and it's 12-4.
And there's a 9-pin.
Wow, another one.
So 2 in the same game. He's going to end up shooting 269 with a cover. But finish your thought, Larry?
But it's going to be 12-4 with a significant margin now in total. It was 144 coming into this game, and Shaw's going to win both pits by maybe 80 pins. It may be 300 pins in total. So if total is effectively out of the way and you've got 12 points,
it's over.
It's basically,
Well, tell the truth, it's over.
Yeah, it's basically just play it out at that point.
Right, exactly. It's not over until it's over, but it's over in terms of the result.
Right. It would take, a miracle beyond anything we've seen out here.
I want a nice game by Callett. Shot 216 off the bench for the Eagles. That's splendid. Unfortunately, unable to cover in the 10th frame was Bryce Shepard. And Collins strikes for a double. 2:35 game for Shepard. Could have been bigger, but he had it open in the 10th frame. Barlow covers the 7th pin. Collins looking for a triple. Gets it, which will put him right at a 200 game with a 9 count. So after struggling a bit, he's come back strong. The Eagles going to have a big game here. I mean, they got a chance to shoot in the high 1200s here in this particular game. And an 8 count for 201. And Cody Barlow. Collins strikes for a 201. So a really nice game for the Eagles. Just consistent across the board. Shot 599 on the low pair. And almost 100 pins. What, 100 pins? Almost 100. Well, 657 on the high pair. So that's really well done. It's 12-66 team game for the Eagles. So they got better second game, Lenny.
Yep, and that's what you want to do, keep improving, right? And they're, like I said, the total is now, let's see, 235 on the left pair, 130 on the right pair. So they've got a 365 pin lead.
And a 12-4.
And a 12-4 edge.
Mm-hmm. So Eagles in perfect shape to win this one. And let's see if they decide to make any changes here. We'll take a timeout. Back with our third and final game of Division II State Championship in a moment on CrescentCitySports.com. As we get set for the start of Game 3, it's Ken Trahan with Kent Lowe and Lenny Van Gilder from Premier Lanes in Gonzales. It's the Division II Co-Ed Championship, and the Archbishop Shaw Eagles seemingly well on their way to repeating as state champions in Division II. Eagles up 12-4 after 2 games, and the pin margin, Lenny, is very, very substantial.
365 pins for Shaw. They have 24-79 through 2. Bell Chase at 21-14. And judging by what I'm seeing here, I think we're going to see some substitutions, and that's not a surprise by any means. Look, you have 10 on your roster. You give them a chance to be able to compete in a state championship match.
I would agree with that.
So I'll jump off for 1 second. We're going to see if we can, while they get this sorted out, I'm going to see if I get the lineup squared away as to exactly what's going on. Make sure we have that straight.
All righty. Well, this is, Kenny, it's just been pretty impressive to watch. I mean, this has been rather impressive. And, it's too bad at the end of the day here you don't have the Division II champion bowl the Division I champion in like a one-game, fun match at the end, because it could really be interesting. But
they've competed together in tournaments, but not in head-to-head matches.
Right,
And, of course,
right.
we're talking about the best teams in Division I include Brother Martin Slidell,
Yeah.
Rummel, Jesuit. And so they've competed against each other in tournaments overall, but not head-to-head whatsoever because of the two different divisions.
And when it comes right down to it, the power, although it's always been that way, there was this year just seemed like New Orleans area teams really dominated state bowling all the way. I mean, there really wasn't the 3 or 4 teams in Baton Rouge that could push. There wasn't anybody in Lafayette or Lake Charles that was able to get in here and make some inroads other than South Terrebonne. You know, the power this year, both divisions, was New Orleans heavy. It was, and like a
lot of times, and here's what it comes down to as well. It's not just about the best averages and the best teams and things like that. Especially now, the brackets have to line up right for you. That's the other thing. I mean, you know, we saw Jesuit get to the semifinals for the first time in 11 years. You know, Jesuit has been good enough to be a semifinal or a finals team for a number of years. But for the last five postseasons, they've ended up on the same side of the bracket as Brother Martin and couldn't get past them.
And also back in the day of the regionals, you know, you couldn't get all the teams out of the regional because of the various geographical areas that were bowled.
You basically had 2 bi-regionals and you got 2 teams out of each side.
And Shaw makes some changes, and Jonathan Klutz in the one spot just revs one up and strikes. I mean, they just go to their bench and they just pull more strikes off the bench.
Yeah, so
bring them out.
Right, it's Klutz at 1, Robert Calix stays at 2, Zachary Tran back in at 3, Cody Barrelou switch pairs and is now at 4. Brady Barrelou steps aside, and it will still be Arena and Collins at 5 and 6. The Bell Chase lineup remains unchanged. So once again, it's Klutz, Calix, Zachary Tran, Cody Barrelou, Arena, Collins for Shaw.
Arena with another strike. He is really bowling well. Couple of 4 pins, one for each team. One for Bell Chase on 25, I should say. And there's a missed spare. Pulled off of that one a little bit, knew it right away. Collins finished last game strong. Tugs this one, maybe split. Hasn't really gotten it going the way we know he can thus far. They bowled the semifinal matches in the regular side of this bowling center. So they moved to the high side, and the boutique side, they call it, as Collins converts the 310. And it's different. I mean, it's a different atmosphere, and it's different conditions.
And I like the setting, okay? Let's first of all say that. You know, we've got bleachers in here for the fans to be able to see. It basically almost creates a mini stadium atmosphere that is, you know, these kids don't compete here otherwise. So it's a great opportunity to be able to get into this setting.
And it's a little calmer for this match. I know what we're going to experience in the next match. It's going to be raucous in here. So stay with us this afternoon because we've still got more to come for later in the afternoon.
Yeah, there's no editorial comment at all.
No.
In that, but there is one side in particular will be extremely loud later on, which is always the case.
Well, and also I think there's a lot of camaraderie between these two teams because of the coaching aspect, and a lot of these guys, you know.
Absolutely, and I think what you see in terms of, you mentioned the raucousness we're going to see in the next match. Well, some of that following is built up over a decade of success, and as you continue to get, you know, the alumni come back out, and the alumni's parents come back out, and some cases they broadcast, but it's you're going to see, you know, that's part of what you see, you know, the following that they develop to make sure.
Look at that 10 pin. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think rocked back and forth. That was like the rock a baby.
But I think the people watching this particular match are kind of enjoying and are saluting good bowling. They applaud all the good shots, and both teams are making.
And I would bet that the girls from Archbishop Chappelle who have are finishing up classes, if they haven't done so already, as we are just coming up on 3 o'clock. They're heading back up here to bowl in singles tomorrow, and I bet they're going to make a stop here at the center to watch the Division I match. Just the thought. And look, those ties existed long before Dorothy Himbert, Bruce's wife, became the Archbishop Chappelle coach. That's that's really across the board. All of these young men from the same area, and really, around the state of Louisiana. These, the top level bowlers, they bowl in these tournaments, and we should mention this weekend in Kenner, it's the annual Pepsi tournament, and that's a big event. In terms of there's 3 or 4 big events every year on the scratch circuit, and you're going to see a lot of these same bowlers competing in that tournament this weekend.
Can I sneak a quick story in? Sure. Especially the people listening and watching in New Orleans will remember this. Remember Don Carter's West Bank?
Yes, very well.
I used to be the director of that tournament a long time ago, back in the 80s, when it was the Coca-Cola tournament. Mm-hmm. And just like today, you have to bowl in a house that serves that particular soft drink.
Right, that brand, correct.
Yeah, well, that's why
Don Carter's West Bank was a Pepsi house back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. They picked me up at the airport. I flew down from Shreveport. They take me to the hotel, and they go, "You want us to pick you back up in 30?" I said, "No, I'll just walk down," because it was only like quarter mile to the lanes where I was staying. As I'm walking down to the lanes, here come 6 Coca-Cola trucks filled with Coca-Cola machines, and they came in and put Coca-Cola in for the weekend at Don Carter's West Bank to host the tournament.
Right.
Well, I don't know if my friend and Ken's friend, the longtime employee with Coca-Cola in New Orleans, Darren Martino, is listening. I'm sure he'll appreciate that story. It's a lot, He knows which ones his centers are around there.
They all do. They work for those companies. And Bill Chase is off to a great start on the high pair. 8 out of 9 strikes on the high pair in Game 3. They're not surrendering quietly here. That's a really good start for the Cardinals.
Granted, that was 40 some odd years ago. I'm not sure a house would do that.
No. or if it would be a lot. Yeah. And I will say this, Kent Lowe and I first met in 1982 when I was a 17-year-old. And Kent was helping run the scratch match games in Lafayette at that point. And
I was a lot older than 17 at the time.
A couple, okay, not a lot, but anyhow, that was our first introduction. Of course, we've done way too many projects together, from the bowling lanes to
the three of us
baseball regionals to you name it.
Three of us have known each other a little while.
We have indeed.
Look, we all love sports, but I think in a lot of cases our first love is this sport. We all grew up in this sport, and are happy and thrilled at the opportunity to continue to promote this sport of high school bowling. I wish what we see now existed when all of us were in high school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and look at what's going on for Mel Chase on the high side.
Yeah, you see all those X's on the top right of your screen.
Ripping and roaring. 9 out of 10 strikes, and now 9 out of 11. A shaky 4-pin. Collinsworth on a 3-bagger almost got the 4th. Nice cover by Barlow.
Not the ideal way to cover it, but just the same, he got him down.
Well, you use the lane and the angle to your advantage, and that's one way to cover it without having to make it fit.
Shows us fair on the scoreboard. That's all you need.
Collinsworth at the 4-pin, and no problem. Except 3 missed it. He hooked it too much, right?
Got to maintain your speed.
Kind of laughed a little bit about it. There's Jonathan Arena. Strike for Klutz for Shaw. Arena sends it. And carries it.
Trip 4.
and flexes.
Certainly enjoyed that.
Yeah, Jonathan's had a great high school career. We mentioned his singles state championship. On his way to a second-team championship, 3 trips to the state semifinals. Of course, 22 Shaw, when we bowled at All-Star in Baton Rouge, Shaw was in the semifinals, lost to Catholic. So he's had an outstanding high school career. He's talking about, the fact that he'd like to be able to wrap it up with a state championship, but perhaps a cherry on top, and see if he can get another singles title tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Blew the rack, got the 10 with the messenger, and that's 4 in a row. For Bell Chase in the 4 spot by Matthew St. Germain.
We may need some medical attention on that 10 pin.
And you and I in our time in horse racing understand the concept of horses for courses. And I would tell you tomorrow to watch out for Bryce Shepard as well. He finished 10th in singles a year ago, and his first shot at doing that. But then in September, he won the Capital City Strikeout, the great tournament that Phil Godley runs over Labor Day weekend.
I was there, and he bowled outstanding in that event.
Clutch crosses over, leaves a 10. Meanwhile, Arena strikes again. Nice conversion. Chop. Klutz will go cross lane for the 10 pin. And flattened it, but dropped it. And that might have been a ball switch to shoot cross lane and didn't really get the grip. A shaker strike for Collins, who doubles. He has to try to stay in touch with Bryce Shepard, when he talked about just now. Looking for a 5-bagger to start the game. Good release. But he's wide. Got the 10 out, though, and prevents what would have been virtually a certain open frame. Calix. High rev rate. With the speed not substantial. And when the speed's not heavy, that was only 13 plus miles an hour, and you really turn it over, it's going to finish very strong. For the spare. Ooh, he just got the sleeper out. Just had enough.
That was different, yeah.
Calix. Able to convert. Shepard on 23. And trips out on the Brooklyn side. It counts. Gets a strike. He'll take it. He's happy. As we get to frame number 5, we'll set the scene for you. Showing control of this match overall. And as we examine the matches right now, it's Bell Chase at number 1 up. Bell Chase at number 2 up. Shaw at number 3. Bell Chase is up at 4. Shaw up at 5. Bell Chase at 6. Bell Chase up at 4 of the 6 matches right now. It's a good start for the Cardinals in the final game, but boy, they need to win everything. Literally, and then win by a ton of pins.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Which is
you're not cutting into the total at this point. When you've got to win total by more than 300 plus pins.
That's a massive ask.
Yeah.
And it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, I believe you need to win every game and hope Shaw leaves about the 9th frame.
Arena's high this time. First time we've seen him out of the 1-3.
Yeah. In a game and a half, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
But he left two stuffed 9 pins.
Yep. Calix on lane 23. Deep on the lane. Maybe too deep. Couldn't get it back. Division I championship to follow. Slidell and Brother Martin. We'll have that for you here on Crescent City Sports.
They are standing at the door waiting to get in.
They're like, let's hurry up so we can get on here, man.
They're just hovering around, the Brother Martin players hovering around, the Slidell players over there.
Present the trophy and
We'll get on. We got to re-oil, so we will have a few minutes in between.
Yep.
It's a good run at that 2:10 split that time by Collinsworth. Just missed it, yeah. Ken, while we have a moment, today's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by our friends at the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. But as Ronnie likes to say, must be a reason.
Indeed, he does, and I'll get the mention in right now. I'll be with Ronnie tomorrow night. We have a special event for our late great friend Ed Daniels, creating a scholarship for him at his alma mater, Archbishop Rummel. My alma mater, Lenny's as well. And the beauty of it is the number of people coming in from all the different schools because of how much they respected and loved Ed. They will contribute to it. And there is the opportunity for you to contribute as well. Go to RummelRaiders.com. We put the link up again tomorrow morning at CrescentCitySports.com. It's easy to do. It doesn't make any difference where you went to school. As I've talked about with some of my school leaders at other schools this week that are coming to the event, said, you probably would have done it if you'd have gone to our school. I said 100%. When you have your friend that you care about that deeply, you'll do it. So again, RummelRaiders.com, CrescentCitySports.com. We'll have the link up again tomorrow. You like that guy Daniels, didn't you, Ken?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And look, a tip of the hat. You talk about all of the tributes that happened. LSU was among those.
Yes.
With his seat still in the press box, and a memorial up there for him. Brian Kelly spoke 2-3 minutes at his first press conference.
First thing he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we're and I'm involved very much with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and really looking forward to this summer. It's an amazing class, and Ed Daniels is a part of that.
Amen.
Joe Sherman, who we all know very well.
I do his game.
From Delgado. So it's a great class.
It is indeed. Stryker Arena. That's going to be a fun weekend. We're looking forward to it. We'll be there and enjoying quite a bit of the festivities in Natchitoches. Spent about 40 minutes on a Zoom meeting with them the other day. Doug was very kind. Ronnie was on it, of course, and Robin Daniels and myself, and looking forward to it.
Is there a marker on Front Street where you had your little incident a few years ago?
I know that I can specify the respective corner.
Yeah.
All I can say is when you get to the corner on Front Street in Natchitoches, look down.
Yes.
Look down, because it slopes down, and I took the step.
I know.
I missed it, and I went down, and I could not get up. I've fallen, and I can't get up.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Oh, man, it happened to me, and I tore a quad tendon. And I insisted. I had all kinds of medical attention coming to me, and I insisted on being stupid and rising and getting help from people to stand up and walking back to Chateau Saint-Denis. Okay, which was about almost a mile away. I limped like crazy, was hurting like nuts, but I didn't want anybody to know. I got there, and then I sat down, and then I had to lay flat, and the pain got to be a little bit too much, so ended up at Alexandria Regional later that night after calling Johnny Marquez, and got in there after I first called Dan McDonald, and I think I got home at 3 or 4 in the morning with a big old strapping cast on my leg. Well, and then came the rehab, then came the surgery, then came more rehab. Moral to the story, don't step down on Front Street. Look where you're going. It may help. It's just a little bit of friendly advice, which says nothing bad about Natchitoches or takes anything away from it. To the contrary, it's a great place to visit. Just learn how to walk. Right now, Shaw's running toward the finish line. And this one on its way to a second consecutive state championship in Division II. No real excitement behind us because, you really kind of know the result that's forthcoming. It's really all about the margin, much as anything, and you're just kind of playing it out at this stage. So that's why you don't hear usually you hear a lot of applause and a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
And You don't hear right now because there's no real mystery here, no drama to speak of. You know, there's still individuals competing, and there's still people that appreciate their individuals, relatives, friends. I'm not going to say classmates. Kids are in school, except for the ones bowling. They got a note from their mother.
But you know what? They may be watching on the west bank of Jefferson Parish and Plaquemines Parish.
There you go.
On Crescent City Sports.
Big
And if you are, hey,
big
thanks
shout
for tuning
out to Father Steve and the entire group at Archbishop Shaw Arena and at Bell Chase. And all my great friends there. Evan Tangent won his 50th game in baseball at Bell Chase, as we reported at Crescent City Sports this morning, where we do every day. Way to go, Evan. Appreciate you. Stephen Myers, football, always a pleasure. The Greek Church on lane 25. I love going to church. I don't like going to that one.
Saw it last week in league. I didn't enjoy it.
Arena cross lane covers. Good shot. Almost swept it, but did not. So you got Bell Chase up at 1. Looking at this matchup. Good strike for Bell Chase. Shepard bowling great, isn't he? He just continues to bowl fantastic for Bell Chase. I mean, he's the unsung hero here. He's been terrific so far for the Cardinals. 209, 235, and on his way to another big game. So Shaw at number 1, it's Bell Chase on top. At number 2, it's Shaw on top. Number 3, it's Shaw. Number 4, it's Shaw barely. 5, it's Shaw, and 6, it's Bell Chase. So 4-2 Shaw advantage right here as we speak in this game. Ooh, that's ugly. Seen some ugly stuff here. The stuff that makes you quit bowling because you have nightmares about it. These are the kind of leaves we're seeing right now. Talk about visualizing stuff you don't want to visualize. These kind of leaves.
Yeah, I don't want to see all these missed 10 pins before I bowl tonight.
Yeah, make you think about that too. Cross lane, good angle.
Nice.
Oh boy, I just said good angle. That's beautiful. That's a really nice conversion. Evan Shepard, way to go, Evan. Great stuff. Now we get to the 9th frame, 2 to go in this championship. And a beautiful shot by Matthew St. Germain. Nice shot by Klutz. Jonathan Klutz getting a chance to bowl in a state championship match. He'll remember this because he's a youngster as well, just a sophomore. You know, he'll be one of their starters next year, in all likelihood. 5-pin, straight 5. Crossover 5. Barrel low cross lane. Doesn't get there. Calix. Good shot. Takes out the 7. Good shape to win his match. Collinsworth preparing for Bell Chase to try to cover the 5. Jonathan Arena next to him. He turned it on in game 2. He's continued to bowl well in game 3. We'll take to lane 26 now. This lane will really finish. So watch the back end for Arena. Sets it down. And there you go, back end.
Wow. Overreaction, yep.
You know, an interesting thing seeing Arena leaving the 3, 6, 9, 10. Kenny, they were talking about on the PBA show a couple of weeks ago how more bowlers are hooking at that instead of going straight and hard at it in this new power game era.
Can't get the sleeper.
No. It's all about the angle to get there. This is the hardest spare to make.
Yeah.
The spare. Now, if it's leaving splits out, just a conventional spare, the hardest one for the pros to make.
Very difficult. No fun. Another one of those you have nightmares about. Keeps that match in play at number 5. By the way, that's not over yet. And here's Collins. Not had a very good championship match, but it wasn't needed in retrospect. He's a better bowler than the scores we've seen today. That's why he's the anchor bowler for Shaw.
He'll be hoping he's gotten rid of all of it for tomorrow.
Singles. At All-Star Lanes, big 64-lane center in Baton Rouge. We're in Gonzales at Premier Lanes. Nice setting. Cody Barrow's high. And again, Lenny, it's not that easy to maintain the laser focus when you know you've got a one, is it?
Yeah.
And that's not an excuse, just
No,
you kind of let up a little bit.
That's very fair.
I think that's the case in any sport.
Yep.
Okay.
If you grind, and then when it's like, whew, okay, we got it, you can't help but have a sense of relief and maybe not be as focused as you may have been otherwise. .169 for Barlow for Shaw.
Well, let's see if it can be picked up on the other side now for on 23.
Gerald Vidros out there doing a little coaching, just
Arena with a strike. That will close out his match. He'll win that one with that strike.
The question now, I think, here in the final game, it's going to pretty much be 3-3. Who's going to win total? It's pretty close.
In this game. Right.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Looking at the numbers.
Yeah. Shaw's up 35 in the left pit. Bell Chase is up 35 in the right pit.
How about
as
that?
It looks right now.
Yeah, who strikes? That's going to determine it. And here's Collinsworth. And there's a 10
Whoa.
pin. Now Arena to try to give you that slight edge if he can double here. Good release.
It's got to hurry, yeah. Like he fanned it a little bit and it went wide.
Beautiful shot. Fills 20 in the 10th frame. Cody Spiess for 159. We'll talk to the winners when we're done. We'll send Lenny to go to work again. And Arena will close out a 2-0-3, and I would imagine Lenny will be speaking with him coming up. Again, Arena shot 269. Second game, 203 third game.
.662 series by my math.
Yep. Yes, sir. Indeed.
Chance for 5 in a row for Shepard. And he puts it down.
Well done. Continues to bowl extremely well. It's been the case all day.
He has a chance to go out for 278 after games of 209 and 235.
He does indeed. Extremely good game that he's bowled here. Good bowling period.
Goes Brooklyn and strikes
He does.
for 6 in a row.
So big game, big finish, big series for Shepard.
4 in a row, 8 counts, 6 in a row.
He's going to shoot 700.
Yeah, and
He's
this
been-
will finish,
He's been the best bowler here in
Yeah,
this
there's-
championship match.
Yep.
no doubt.
As Lenny mentioned, there'll be a lot to watch in the singles.
278.
Beautiful game.
Yep, because he's been outstanding there. Great job by Bryce.
That's fantastic stuff. 7:22. Huh?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful. So Bryce Shepard with a 7:22 series. And we'll go ahead and get you the totals coming up soon. Collins missed the spare. 159 game. Shaw is the state champion, though, and Eagles begin the celebration.
Let's see if we can get the score right today. We
That would be good.
apologize. Yeah, this is going to end up 18-9. Shaw. Belchase took 5 in the last game. They split the 6 singles points, and Belchase won the team point, or the 2 points for team. So it's going to end up 18-9. Of course, Shaw handling the super total. We mentioned they had that big lead going in. That was not in doubt.
Handshakes all around.
I'm sure some hugs between mom and dad and son as well.
Yep, somebody wins in the family. That's a guarantee, a given, if you will. That was certainly the case here. We'll get the presentation of the awards forthcoming. Well-deserved hand for both teams. Shaw wins it. Now the MVP award. Jonathan Arena is the MVP, and Lenny will be speaking with him coming up. You know, you're typically not going to pick an MVP from the losing team because Shepard would have been that with what he bowled here.
Certainly, yeah. But
yeah.
Totally understandable.
So 18-9 is what the final is in this one.
Now the presentation of the team awards to each side. Great to see Belchase get this far. What a great season it was for Belchase. Congratulations to South Terrebonne and University Lab as well for outstanding seasons. South Terrebonne bowled great in the semifinals. New High bowled
Pretty good semifinals to lead us into this final, too. As
two very competitive matches.
Both matches were really good.
South Terrebonne pushed Shaw to the limit. South Terrebonne had the lead going to game 3 in that match, and Shaw turned it on and bowled fantastic in the third game to down the Gators. Remember, they beat the Gators in the finals a year ago. So, rematch went to Shaw, and then Shaw over Belchase here to win the state championship in Gonzales today. And then we'll get the Shaw Team Award coming up as well. And we'll get Lenny out there before the other media tries to grab anybody. So we'll take care of that coming up. So Lenny will head that way. And we will continue. Kent, you had to enjoy what you saw no matter what.
It was. This was a great match, and I'm very impressed. I watched last year's match with Shaw where they won, but to watch this in person was very impressive indeed.
It was. We see the team now gathering as the trophy presentation is taking place on the team side of things. Shirts are being distributed to the winners on behalf of the LHSAA. And we'll get Lenny in place to get the winners. We do want to remind everyone to stay tuned because we do have our Division I state championship match still to come. Should be an outstanding match. Top 2 seeds, 2 unbeaten teams. Brother Martin and Slidell forthcoming.
I'm really looking forward to this. I've had a chance to along with you and some others, watch a lot of what the history of Brother Martin in this thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing this particular version out on the lanes this afternoon, because I really haven't had much chance to see them bowl in person. So I'm really looking forward to that, and seeing Slidell this afternoon should be very interesting. I think we'll have a very entertaining match, but I'm so impressed with Archbishop Shaw, and I think we're just about ready to get down to the floor to Lenny Van Gilder.
Almost, not quite yet, but we're just about there. So we're trying to clear the docket and get people out of the camera shot. And Jonathan Arena is trying to put a shirt on as we speak. So now we'll go to Lenny and take it away, Lenny.
All right, it's back-to-back for Archbishop Shaw. Denise Vidros, I know this wasn't easy having to coach against your son today, but this was a great performance all the way around by your team all the way through. You faced some adversity this morning, and your team stepped up. Just first of all, talk about that, just to be able to get to this side for the finals.
Yeah, it was a very tough first game in the semifinals. We've never been in that situation before, so the boys really did a great job coming back in that third game. I told them they could do it. I knew they could do it. We all knew they could do it. They just had to believe in themselves, and they pulled through. I mean, they came through in that third game, which we really needed to get to this particular point.
To go back-to-back, I know it was 15 years between titles, but now to go back-to-back with a lot of this same group as you did a year ago. The hardest thing sometimes can be to defend. You were getting everybody's best shot all year long. Just how hard was it, and now how satisfying, now that it's over, to get 2 straight titles?
It's definitely exciting. I'm very happy for our team. I'm happy that we could bowl against, a home team as well. Even though, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, but Belle Chase did a great job all season. I'm very proud of my son. I'm proud of Belle Chase, and they're going to be back. They're going to be back around, and hopefully we're going to be back as well. I am losing 4 seniors, but I've got some underclassmen coming in, and hopefully they will step it up, and we'll be back here next year.
One of those guys that you're losing, you get one more day out of him tomorrow in singles. Jonathan Arena, let's go back again to the semifinals. You knew the situation. You made some adjustments. You were struggling early on. Then you come out with the first 9 strikes in Game 3. Just talk about the pressure that this team felt and how they responded in the semifinals.
I mean, we took the pressure that South Terrebonne gave us, and we used that to fuel ourselves for that third game. And I knew if we could get their high side to struggle a little bit, which is exactly what happened, and all 6 of us throw the best shots we could, not one of them was beating us, and that's exactly what happened.
Back-to-back titles. You had a singles title 2 years ago. This is a pretty good high school career that's wrapping up this week. What else can you say?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, I have possibly the best coach I could have ever gotten, ever met. Yeah, the bowling's on me, but a lot of the coaching is with her, and I can't think of a better coach and a better school to represent and win back-to-back state titles. Really, 3 in a row for me, but I'll take back-to-back team state titles.
Y'all go celebrate another team championship on the West Bank. Archbishop Shaw is the Division II champions. Ken, back to you.
All right, thank you, Lenny. Indeed, they are. The Eagles have earned it. 18-9 win over Belle Chase here in the Division II co-ed state championship match here, Kent. And there was really no doubt about this when we kind of knew the outcome beforehand, right?
They were the best team. They may be been one of the best teams in either division combined when you get right down to it.
Yeah.
But the one thing about Archbishop Shaw was consistency. They had the consistent bowlers that were able to, all season long, to come up with the big numbers. And this kid, Arena, he's very humble. He knows that it takes a lot of hard work. He doesn't just come out and do it. And I think the most important point of the match, and the most important point of him being MVP, is when he knew that opening ball that he was throwing, the equipment was not right, and he had to make the change in the 9th frame, and then threw whatever it was, 11 in a row, at that point with the new equipment. And I think that just says more than anything about him.
Well, it does. Again, Archbishop Shaw winner 18-9 over Bellchase for the Division II state championship. We want to thank you for joining us, and stay with Crescent City Sports, because coming up next, it's the Division I boys co-ed final between Brother Martin and Slidell for our Crescent City Sports production team. And for Kent Lowe, Lenny Van Gilder, I'm Ken Trahan saying so long for just a moment from Gonzales, where Shaw has won the state championship in Division II, 18-9 over Bellchase. Be a good sport, and God bless you one and all. Rounding third and heading home for just a couple of minutes. So long.